Labor unions have been blasting the Biden administration over an agreement that would impose a rejected union contract between rail workers and the companies. Biden's request, the House of Representatives on Wednesday, passed two resolutions. The first resolution, which passed 290 to 137, would require workers to accept the tentative agreement the Biden administration negotiated back in September. The second House measure, which passed 221 to 207, would provide 7 paid sick days in an attempt to address workers' concerns. Only 3 Republicans joined Democrats to approve the measure that included sick days. So again, you have more Republicans that supported just getting these people back to work, and then Republicans who supported actually doing paid sick leave, which is what they were asking for. So now, Democrats' decision, by the way, to add a vote on paid sick leave comes after major blowback from lawmakers like Senator Bernie Sanders, progressives, rail unions who are disappointed by Biden's push to approve a deal that did not adequately tackle this issue. So understand, the paid sick leave was only added after pushback. You know what that means? The considerations of the workers were ignored. The considerations of the railroad companies, the corporations, who have heavily lobbied members of Congress, that came first. And that is a good illustration of how our system works, how it is rigged against working people. But it gets worse. Because these are separate, because this bill has been decoupled, the Senate can easily pass only one of them, the previously rejected contract, offering no paid sick leave, which was the major sticking point by the workers, and then reject a resolution granting 7 days of sick leave. And one of them is going to end up on Biden's desk, and he will sign it in order to avoid the rail strike. Now, union groups and politicians that support labor have spoken out against this. In fact, Our Revolution, the organization founded by Senator Bernie Sanders, tweeted this on Tuesday. World Labor President would force the corporate bosses to take the workers' deal, not the other way around. True. Starbucks Workers United, which represents over 250 unionized Starbucks stores, tweeted, President Biden is forcing railroad workers to accept a deal they voted down as a betrayal of working class people. Siding with the bosses to deny workers paid sick leave and prevent a strike is not pro-labor. Workers across social media, by the way, are also angry. One Reddit poster said, if Congress forces a crap deal on the railroad workers, they should all strike anyway. Fuck the economy. Let the cargo on those trains rot. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Oh, but what if they crash the economy? They could hurt the stock market. Nobody cares. I don't care. Sorry. I would rather have a good deal. By the way, these companies, they can give the workers what they want. That's how you can avoid the strike. It's really easy, and it's funny how no one seems to think that way. Nobody in the mainstream press, very few people in Washington are saying, why don't we just give the workers what they want? Well, that would stop the strike right there. Instead, no, we have to give the corporations everything that they want. There is a reason that they do not want to do paid leave, and it's set up with their business model. Now, there's more. Here is more comments. This inevitable nationwide railroad strike is not about money, one worker told Motherboard in September. It is about dignity and a balance of a fair work life. For every 1 day that I take off unpaid, it takes me 14 continuous working days to earn it back. Do that math. This is our so-called sick time. The International Brother of Teamsters, one of the largest freight worker unions in the world, issued a statement on Tuesday afternoon saying the big rail carriers have already made it clear they only care about making massive profits, not the safety of the health of the workers, said Teamsters General President Sean M. O'Brien. Why should rail executives and members of Congress have paid sick time, but rail workers don't get a single paid sick day? If Congress is going to take over this process, they need to include paid sick days. Now, as I mentioned, they can afford to do this. The 7 dominant North American railways had a combined net income of $27 billion. That's more than double their margin a decade ago, before they had slashed their workforce by about 30% in order to save money, right? And they apparently did, and they are making a ton of profit. But what have they done since then? They've actually doled out about $146 billion in dividends and stock buybacks, while investing only about $116 billion back into the business. They can afford it, but their business model, as I mentioned, is based on having as few employees as possible. They make more money when the workers are not able to leave, because somebody's got to run the train. Don't care if you're sick. Don't care if you have a family emergency. You should have, you should have been clairvoyant and saw, into the future and scheduled your day and scheduled a vacation day. Ridiculous. The AFL-CIO said in a statement, a worker should not be fired for going to the doctor. Yet it is 2022 and the railroaders are fighting for sick leave in the richest country on earth. It is unacceptable when the vote for a contract is denied to the union membership. It is also a violation of the core democratic nature of unions and the membership's right to vote. Seth Goldstein, a lawyer for the Amazon labor union, said this: outrageous, the most pro-union president since Roosevelt has failed to stand up for railway workers on the union's important sick pay issue. That just shows that unions should never be reliant on a political party or politician. 100%. And Democratic pollster Celinda Lake told the Washington Post in early November on that, entire issue of unions and political parties and affiliation, because it turns out unions are, especially the rail unions, pretty important constituency for the Democratic Party. It's almost like if you want them to vote for Democrats or continue to vote for Democrats, you might want to actually help them once in a while. I know, strange concept for some of these corporate Democrats. Here's what she said. Union members are really important in this year's midterms. This was back in November, as I said. They usually vote Democratic, and they're the one group of white men that votes most Democratic. If you get a union member, you usually get their household members too. And so what Biden is doing by supporting the corporate bosses is spitting in the face of these Democrats, Democratic voters, that they need to win in places like Pennsylvania, in the Rust Belt, and all over the country. Can you spit in the face of your voters? Yeah, but where are they going to go? I mean, Republicans, right? Well, what happens when Republicans decide to tweak their message? Put out some marketing in order to get those votes. Oh, right. That's already happening. The message is all that they would, of course, need to change because, of course, Republicans don't give a damn about workers either. But there is a danger here. The message that comes out will start to resonate. Ted Cruz and Josh Hawley, they're already putting out that message and claiming, oh, no, the Republican Party, we side with the workers. We think that these 7 days, they're reasonable. Now, of course, Ted Cruz, he's going to vote against it. We know it. Or in the off chance that he does vote in favor of it, remember, they can just shut it down. You need 60 senators. So if he knows the vote's going to fail, then yeah. If he votes for it, then he'll vote for it. And then he'll have a narrative. He'll be able to craft his narrative around, look at me, I voted to give you these American workers 7 days of sick leave. What did the Democrats do? Democrats, you're playing with fire. Biden, you're playing with fire by not supporting your own constituency. Why are you not doing it? That's a real good question from a so-called pro-union president. Again, here's the other thing, too. The Democrats are voting to crush workers, and the way that they did this legislatively will not lead to the workers getting paid sick leave, decoupling these bills. It'll force this contract that the workers did not want on them, and they are going to be pissed. And who are they going to blame? They're going to blame Biden. I know a lot of you might think, but they'll blame Republicans. Who's in charge? Who's running Congress right now? The Democrats. It'll be blamed on Democrats and Biden. Even though, and by the way, Biden and the Democrats also know that Republicans will, of course, filibuster the 7 days of paid leave. So what are you doing? No, what Biden should have done is he should have went, on the workers' side and told the rail bosses, listen, fat, you're going to give these workers their paid leave. And that's the fact, Jack. He's not doing that. We're at a time where we need Dark Brandon the most. We're getting corn pop.